And as if by magic,
You never tell me the running order or anything. Normally we come on, say hello to everybody and all that kind of stuff. And how we doing, guys? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then we do the news. This week, you just drop me straight in it.
I know. We're straight in because I want everybody to appreciate that you're in Sun City Distillery in downtown El Paso, you bastard!
Yes. And it's not all fun and games, Justin, because it's a little bit nippy here today.
Aye, but I'm sure you can have a guapo and it'll warm you up, you sod, you. Bloody sod.
It's stayed cold here. It's very windy today, actually, but the sun's shining, so it's all right.
All right.
That like the sun, that like it's hitting you in the top of the head there, I have to say.
No, that's the studio lighting, because I don't have a lighting technician to light me without the shine. I'd need to put makeup on my head, but then I'd forget to take it off and go out, and people would say, "Why have you makeup on your head?" But anyway.
I don't know.
They're coming thick and fast this week. Thomas Jones is saying hello. Yeah. He's saying hello. Mark Kerr's already in. Yes. Mark Kerr it's not Grandad Day Kerr anymore. Richard McKeown is saying good evening. Patrick Mulkey saying good evening. Tony Sillett's in the room. Frank Hearn is here tonight. Frank, wonder where you are this weekend. Are you down in Enniskillen? Peter Stewart's telling me off for the bad language. Yes.
Yeah,
yes. I better not say bad words because we don't want any Texas Bible Belt ones hunting us down or anything like that there, especially with their handguns. John Redmond saying good evening. Richard McKeown is look at that there. Look at that. You have the bloody days of it. There you go. Look at that there. Linda Cox saying hello. Susan Strickland saying hello. Hello, Susan. Hello to you.
I think Susan's actually a scam. I think the VAR.FL, I think that's a scam.
Oh, yeah, it's a scam, so piss off. Sean McLennan is saying hello. Connor Weeble saying hello. Mark Kerr is saying Seb is back with his mum. Linus 121, evening, folks. Gregor Rosinski, I think he's legit, is saying good evening. And Michael Matthews is, I had to leave to get the pub home. Listen, why didn't you put it on? All pubs are like, they have a big TV like the one up there in the corner behind Marty. Why don't you put it on YouTube? Most smart TVs can show YouTube. Put the show on, put the captions on, it'll come up on screen, and listen, you can watch the show. I mean, what's better than a show about distilleries and breweries in a pub? Yeah. James Murdoch, hiya. Yes, James, he's the other side of the pond tonight. Yep. I'm stuck in Carrickfergus, which hasn't changed in 800 years.
I know. Exactly. That's one of the problems with it. Now, it's funny, Michael says he's only left the pub, because the first item on the news tonight, because normally you play the news now, is the COVID rules. And there's been a relaxation on all the COVID rules, and people are allowed to go back to the pub. Yay! Basically, as of today, people in the Republic can actually go and sit at the bar and have a pint of Guinness. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally back. Thank God. Now, in Northern Ireland, it's slightly different, but the 26th this month, the nightclubs will be opened. You won't need COVID certs to go in. The doorman will not have to police you to go in and sit and have a beer. Put like this, you need to check all the rules because they're all different all throughout the British Isles, but they are relaxing, and they are. Who knows? You might even get an invite to 10 Downing Street, go for a garden party, go down Boris's slide, a lot of vino in you, whatever. I don't take an Irish whiskey with you for going,
Listen, the scary thing is that Nicola Sturgeon, that lovely woman, she wants you to actually wear a face mask in the disco.
They're going to open the nightclubs. You just have to wear a face mask in the nightclub. Now, have you ever done this stupid in your life? We've seen what we girls go out in these days into nightclubs, and the most clothing they'll have on will be on their faces. Who's going to place that? It's the stupidest rule ever.
Hey, listen, Michael Matthews rushed back from the pub. He was sitting at the counter this evening for the first time in 2 years, and
Exactly.
he's sitting at the bar this evening, and he thought it was wonderful. He thought it was wonderful. Yeah.
Well, you see, if you go onto the likes of Twitter or any of the social media, there's the amount of photographs there is of people having pints or pints sitting in bars. It's unbelievable, but good on them. Finally.
Thomas Jones actually says, "Is this a cheese and wine work function?" No, we're allowed. We're allowed out. Marty's in America anyway, so they can do what they like in Texas. They make their own rules in Texas, isn't that right?
Pretty much, yeah. But I saw a thing yesterday. I thought I'd laugh. It was a gun with Donald Trump's carving on the handle of it, which I kind of thought was about as Texan as you're going to get, really. Very bizarre, but no, it was excellent stuff over here.
So we're going all eco-friendly tonight a wee bit. There's a wee bit of an underlying eco-friendly theme.
We all know I like a bit of the eco-friendly thing, because I think it's just pragmatic, to be honest, and it's sensible and forward planning. Now, the Irish Whiskey Association has started a campaign or series or whatever it is to highlight the environmental and sustainability aspects of Irish distilleries. So each week they're going to show one of these throughout the whole campaign. And the first week up, it's our friends down at the Radaman Estate down at Shortcross. And as you can see there, all the power used by the Radaman Estate is sustainably supplied by their on-site wind and hydro turbines. Now, it does help the fact that David and Fiona have a rather large estate to play about with, but it's nice that they're doing that. Now, it's going to be, the first lot is going to be 7 of the distilleries. The chairman of the Irish Whiskey Association, John Quinn, who's the global brand ambassador for Tullamore Dew, has announced that the Irish Whiskey Association will be establishing a series of groups to develop at an industry level strategy for the industry to align with sustainability initiatives and targets and stuff that are going to be put through.
Is this him here? Is this him here smiling, is it? Yeah.
You see whenever I said the global brand ambassador for Tullamore Dew, it's a bit of a hint that the guy with the bottle of Tullamore Dew sitting in front of him. And apart from that, you should know who he is anyway. But,
I know. But do you know how big he is in my screen? He's about this size. Do you know? What do you think I have? Just think it's like NASA mission control in here, and I have like a screen like the BBC. If I was getting paid £156 a year, I'd be a millionaire myself.
Oh, God in heaven. Oh, here we go.
I'll make him bigger so as you can see him. Yes, it's a bottle of Tullamore Dew, and he's got Belfast trusses above him. Are they Belfast trusses? No, they're Warren trusses. There you go.
Well, put it like this, they're going to set out industry targets for all of Ireland, North and South, and they're going to do industry-specific groups to try and do that and get that sorted out. So, good on them.
Listen, the grammar police are on to you tonight. Frank Heron says it's Rademont.
Oh, he's getting all
if we say London Drary like that there next. Frank, cast off. I tell you.
Anyway, Radimon Estate, I'll pronounce it that way, and they'll know who. David and Fiona know what I'm talking about anyway. So now we're coming over this side of the pond to come over to here now, because a study commissioned by the Kentucky Distillers Association found that bourbon is an economic powerhouse for the region. That's their quotes. They put economic powerhouse, and when you read the stats, it is just holy wow. The report found that distillers are pumping in $9 billion a year. $9 billion. This is only one state in America. $9 billion a year into the economy. It's incredible. They employ 22,500 people. The payroll, just direct wages, is 1.23 billion from the distilleries. I mean, it's incredible stats. They pay 285 million in state and taxes, and that's directly. That's not including income taxes and stuff on top of it. I mean, it's a huge industry. There's about 10.5 million barrels currently aging in Kentucky from the 95 distilleries that are there. So 95% of all bourbon is made in Kentucky, and production has went up. Since 1999, Production has went up 435%. I mean, it's incredible stats, and I mean, a huge industry for one state. Now, to put it in context, they have 10.5 million barrels aging. Scotland has about 20 million. Now, when people think about Scots, that whole industry, it's a fantastic thing. Ireland has about 3 million in stock at the minute, but it's growing at a huge rate. But yeah, so
I mean, that's just one state, and the number of whiskey distilleries in the States is expanding all the time, isn't it?
Basically every day there's new ones, and they're going for market space, but it's a huge, colossal amount. But, and this is the next bit, there's a little bit of a problem, and we touched on this a few times before. Bourbon has to be aged in new oak, new white American oak, so you need the wood. Stands to sense. What they found is that they're taking more oak than they're planting, and there's a bit of a highlight coming out. A white oak initiative has been set up. So I've seen a little news story earlier on this week. If you want to play that,
here we go.
It's no secret that Kentucky's bourbon comes from like this one, but its journey really begins in forests all across the country, and it's where companies like Heaven Hill are stepping up efforts to preserve one of its most critical resources. If you've ever visited a bourbon distillery, you've likely noticed the barrels.
White oak is critical to bourbon because it is by law required that we put our bourbons in a new white oak barrel.
But white oak trees are becoming scarce.
In a lot of our forests, you do still see older white oak trees in the canopy. What you're not seeing are the younger white oak trees regenerating on the forest floor.
The White Oak Initiative was founded in 2017 at the University of Kentucky to help correct that before it's too late.
If we don't take action now, our forests will look very different in the next several decades.
Last year, Heaven Hill Distilleries joined those efforts by helping to train loggers.
As it stands today, a logger doesn't have to have any sort of special certification to go out in the forest and log trees. But we know that from a forest health perspective, it's really the best thing if they do.
The certification classes teach loggers about safety and how to log in a way that fosters the regrowth of future white oaks. The distiller partnered with independent stave company to cover the costs of the training.
A day that they're not in the forest is a day that they're not getting paid. And so they really need these incentives to go to these programs and get certified.
Heaven Hill isn't alone in its efforts. Angel's Envy launched its Toast to the Trees campaign in 2014, which has allowed the company to plant nearly 200,000 white oak trees that distillers won't be able to harvest for at least 80 years.
We're not just looking at, oh, well, there's enough trees today. We're looking at how many trees are out there in 3 generations, you know?
They hope their actions now will help keep the bourbon flowing for years to come. Drew Gardner, WLKY News.
Now, there you go. We actually did a Kentucky special last year, Marty, didn't we?
We did. But the thing about it is the reason Kentucky's so important and the White Oak Initiative is it basically underpins all of the rest of the whiskey industry, because pretty much everybody ages in used bourbon barrels because they're plentiful and they're cheap. And if there's a problem with that supply, and even if it's 10 years from now, that's going to be a major issue, because remember, whiskey basically works on a lead time of about 3 years minimum for most places, and on and on. So the fact that these companies are taking that initiative now, I'll help out in years to come. And whenever you read the stats about Kentucky being a $9 billion a year industry, they have to kind of do it. So yeah, but it underpins a lot of the rest of the whiskey industry, and so that's why it's so important.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. So
now you're in Sun City Distillery, but there's one more thing to come. Yeah.
One more thing to come, and that is this week sees Burns Night coming in. And this week, the 25th, is Burns Night, where they stab the wee haggis and kill it to death. and so on. But it's a big one, special year this year in this one, because this distillery are bringing out their first batch, the Loch Lee distillery. So Loch Lee was where the Robbie Burns grew up as a boy. It was his formative years as such. And they are bringing out this week on the 25th. This will be their first product. Now, there's no shortage of bottles. This is not one of the 300, 500 pound bottles. There's 7,000 bottles of this being released. 46% ABV, first fill bourbon and PX sherry. Now it's independent, family owned, and all of that. Now they've got a major scalp. They pulled in a major scalp because they lured John Campbell away from Lafroig.
Wow.
Look, he's now working for these guys. So it kind of tells you that what their ambitions are.
There seems to be a lot of shuffling of the pack going on this while back across the industry, Marty.
Well, put it like this, there's a lot more options for guys. There's a lot of guys starting out. These guys raised, I think it was about £2.5–3 million in funding, and they brought it in. So they have probably a bit of cash to spend, and bringing in a big heavy hitter from Islay will not do them any harm. So good luck to them. If you want to find out where that's being stocked, if you go to their website, you can see a list of the stockists. Now they're all in Great Britain, so Scotland, England, Wales, but there's no shortage of bottles, so it shouldn't be that hard to get your hands on a bottle if you want one. Okay. Nice bottle, by the way.
Doesn't it look like something else?
Well, it looks like the new Bushmills a little bit, but the bottle, if you pull it up in full screen, it's actually sort of corrugated. It's got like indentation. Right. Quite a nice bottle.
Does it look like Disaronno on the rocks or something like that as well, does it?
I don't know. I don't drink that sort of pish.
No, it is pish. I don't like Disaronno myself.
Disaronno's too sweet. It gives you diabetes after about 3 glasses.
Boy, that's true. That is true. That is true. At least it isn't. At least it isn't like Italian Ferno or something like that. There, you know.
Now, as you rightly said, I'm in the Sun City Distillery,
right?
Because, as you know, for the last nearly 2 months, I've been here in El Paso, and I got in contact with these guys because it's part of the massive craft distilling industry that's started up in the States, and they have they've brought out a couple of different products, and I'm joined by Javier Gonzalez.
Hey everyone. Xavier Gonzalez, nice to meet you.
Yes, I can't
believe it, Marty, but Ryan need to join us as well. 3, 2, 1. Ryan, you're in the room as well.
How are we?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
We're good. Now, this is the Sun City Distillery. It's a small thing, but how did you get into distilling, and how did you decide I want to get into the craft distillery? Oh, hang on.
I think we're ordering some tacos right now. I'll start a little bit first. It was Ryan. It was Ryan's fault. I know Ryan from another work, and he showed me what he was doing, and it's like, once you start doing this, you just fall in love with it. You just love the, going through all the distillation process, constantly tasting, trying to find new stuff. It's amazing. So I fall in love with it, and that's how I started.
Now, you guys, you were distillers, but it wasn't whiskey you were distilling, is it? It's not. That's not what you guys were distilling. You were dealing with a much more, a more functional product.
Correct. Yeah, our background. I don't know if you guys can hear me too good. The Wi-Fi is not that great out here in New Mexico, but we started off in the petrochemical field. Xavier is still in the petrochemical field, and we were refining oil. So we're making gasoline, diesel. So it lends itself right to making spirits, whiskey, gin. It's the same thing. So for 12 years, I was an automation engineer at the refinery making gasoline. Now we just make whiskeys and different spirits, but it's exactly the same thing. Rectification is the same,
Yeah, it's just the same skill set moving over, except you don't tend to drink a lot of diesel. There's not an awful lot of diesel drunk about the place.
No, we
Oh,
don't drink.
Don't drink diesel. Now, Ryan, your background, it was in, you did craft brewing, you did like home brewing and stuff, didn't you?
Correct. For about 5 years, I was brewing just out of my garage, 10, 15-gallon batches. So it was small batching, kind of like what we do now. Our batches are a little bit bigger. They're 250 gallons, but we're still batching. We're not continuously distilling. And both our backgrounds in engineering, we could develop a continuous distillation steel if we wanted to. But there's more well, I don't know. But for our preference, there's more love in the batch process where we can taste it and touch it every step of the way, you know. So we're sticking to that. Of course, I could engineer the hell out of it and make it a push button PID controller, but you'd lose all the influences that you do have when you do a batch process. So
yeah. No, I've tried this. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the products just yet. And you can tell that you're a home brew guy. You're a brewer because you didn't just use corn and barley in this. You've actually went yellow dank corn, Belgian caramel malt, and Munich malt in different ratios: 54, 36, and 10 in that order. Why did you pick these? Why did they come about?
The special B was more for the caramel flavor. That's what we were looking for. You know, we want a bit of sweetness on it. Get the caramel taste of it.
Because around here, the aging in casks is a totally different thing than you would get in Scotland or Ireland, because the heat during the summer, and it's actually quite cold at night. I mean, it gets way below freezing at night, so you've got that huge contrast. This is only aged for a year, or it says here for at least a year, for probably a little bit more than a year. So how do you find the cask aging process between over here?
We found that it helps a lot, actually. The changes between temperature, you know, it allows the aging on the barrels to go faster. Can you say it right? Am I saying it right?
Faster?
Faster. Helps the temperature. You know, it's cold at night, hot during the day. It usually helps.
Well, El Paso's a desert, so in the daytime, in our summers, we get 110, 115, and in that metal building that we're in, essentially metal building, it gets hot as heck. It's probably 120, 130 in there in the summer. So we're baking the hell out of those casks that you see out there. And then at nighttime, we're a desert, so it gets really, really, really cold. So we get the best of both worlds, and the alcohol fluctuates. It goes in and out, couple hundred cycles a day, you know. So we get the best of both worlds. It does get a little bit oaky when we first started. We were using new casks, and it got really, really oaky, and a lot of the stuff we never released because we didn't like the way it tastes. So we went from new cask to used cask, and we kind of did the same thing, the Irish style and the Scotland style, right, where we're using used casks, second fill barrels.
Yeah. Now, I've been trying this. I've been drinking this, and I have to take my hat off and say this is really, it's much better than I thought it was going to be. If I'm holding my hands up, it's got a nose on it. I was talking to Javier about it, and the nose on it has it's a slightly tarry, sweet nose. It's got a very strange nose to it, and when you taste it, it goes all peanut butter and caramel and sweet, nice, lovely sweet. There's not a massive finish on it because it's not years and years and years in a cask, but it's got a lovely sort of sweetness that just sort of carries on, and it's all those lovely balanced notes, but there's complexity to it in a way that I didn't think it was going to have, and I take my hat off to you guys because it's really, really, really good.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We one of the flavors that we were looking at this guy, it's the maple barrel that we use to age it. we really wanted that maple flavor. So that's
Yeah.
one of, on the notes you get, the characters you get from this guy in this list.
So this is aged in maple casks, and is it bourbon as well? Bourbon, was it aged in bourbon?
Correct. We started off the first year in Stranahan barrels, the ones that are right behind you, from Colorado Distillery, and we started off the first year like that, and it pretty much tastes like almost every bourbon that we've ever had. So Xavier made the decision. He was like, hey, let's spice it up a little bit. Let's not release a bourbon like everybody else. So we put it in the maple syrup casks, and it really changed everything. So that was about 5-6 months of resting in there.
Well, it's actually got a nice rounded mouthfeel to it. I'm a big fan of mouthfeel. When it actually goes into your mouth, it's like that chocolate-esque thing where it coats your mouth. It's got a nice oil to it that a lot of bourbons don't have. Bourbons is that sharp sweetness that comes in, and this is rounded it off a lot better, a lot more.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it finished beautifully. We actually brought our distributors in. In Texas, it's a 3-tier state, so we can't distribute straight to bars or liquor stores. So we actually brought our distributor in and pulled samples straight from the barrel, and we were tasting it. We were so biased, obviously. We were such in the middle of the process that we wanted the other guys to come in and kind of taste it and let us know what they thought about it and at what strength. At the end, when we were ready to pull it, it was still, the cast strength was about 109 proof still. So we proofed it down to 90. We made the decision all together. We had a good drink fast, and we kind of made the decision with our distributor.
Yeah. I think what you've done with it is remarkable. To get that much flavor in a young whiskey, and you guys, with the best will in the world, you don't have vast years and years and years of experience doing whiskey, and to bring out something as good as that, as a sort of one of your first offerings is a superb. Hats off to you. Now you have other products. What other stuff?
So, we have this guy. We also have a white rum.
White rum.
White rum.
And all the wax tops.
We have a gin.
A gin.
It's not botanicals. This thing's delicious. A lot of flavor. A lot of. It's not botanicals. So it's a lot of flavor. A lot of notes. Smells. Smells. The distillery smells awesome.
Perfume.
When we're doing the right thing. Yeah. Actually, I tell everyone that comes in, it's like when we finish with all the botanicals, I usually take them home, put them as potpourri. It's just delicious, And then what you smell, you get on the flavor for the gin. We have some aged rum too.
Some aged rum.
So basically, took this guy. We just put it in some barrels and some casks, and then we just go ahead and aged it. Give me five seconds.
5 seconds, no problem. Right.
We actually did two versions for this age process. So we did one in 92 proof and another in 80. So this one tends to go more towards the whiskey flavors. Has a lot of woody notes, flavors to it. And then this one, even though it's the same one, because of the proof, it's more of a vanilla kind of a more fruity, has more of the actual rum kind of flavor.
You guys are busy. There's other stuff. There's more.
Yeah, no, there's another.
And there's more.
Another whiskey. This is a really young whiskey that we have. That's why we name it Chavalo. So it's Chavalo because it's a young whiskey. Chavalo in Spanish means young.
Young
person. Yeah.
Right.
The name. So the rum's named Tranquila. So, taking it easy, taking it smooth.
Tranquil.
Pretty much.
For non-Spanish speakers out there, there's not that many Spanish speakers in Ireland, to be honest. So Tranquil.
This is the one I love the most. This is Ryan's, one of Braylon's ideas. It's named Acerre. So correct me if I'm wrong, I said it wrong. Acerre means pretty much it's, I don't remember which it's from.
That's the agave plant, is it not? Is it?
No,
Cuban, it's a Cuban dialect.
Cuban dialect.
It translates to assortment of stinky monkeys. which is the same as gin, right? It's a assortment of stinky botanicals, right?
Stinky monkeys. That's a fairly local thing. That now, what's this one, mate? What's
El Guapo. So
El
that
Guapo.
means beautiful, beautiful, handsome, handsome. That's handsome.
That would do me.
Yep.
Would it?
So you know, after a few of those, anyone's gonna look handsome.
Yes, that would do Justin then too, would it?
It was Xavier's stage name. Yeah.
That's gonna use that nice,
Handsome. I like that one. That's fantastic.
No, honestly, the range, the stuff that I've tasted is superb, and that's the winner for me. It really comes across that in terms of the mash bill, the fermentation, and the distillation, the aging has all of it's came across really well in that there. Now, the Sun City Distillery, you guys aren't resting on your laurels. You can obviously see that you guys have been busy, but you're moving on a little bit further, aren't you? You're talking about possibly expanding again.
Correct. Yeah, we're most likely 99.9% moving into New Mexico market. So we're already signed a lease basically to open up another Sun City Distillery in Sunland Park, New Mexico. So that is coming. The other thing is like some of the influences that we're getting are from right next door. I don't know if Xavier kind of took you there, but there's a brewery right next to us, and those guys are a heavy influence on some of the grains that we're doing. Some whiskeys we haven't released. We just kept it in a small 50-gallon sample that we just we give to family, friends, and also some of the bar owners that we local bar owners that we kind of got familiar with. So a lot of experimenting is still going on right now. We're still small, obviously. So we have the luxury of playing with some of these smaller batches, and we won't release it. We usually don't release it unless it's 100% marketable, right? So some of the things that we like, you know, we made a peach brandy the other day that Xavier just felt like he wanted to make a peach brandy. So we made a peach brandy, and it was amazing, but we never released it to anybody else. It was a couple of bar owners and our friends, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, it's great to have that flexibility to be able to do this.
Yeah, no, we have the advantage, just like Ryan said, do whatever we want. We want to do something today. Yeah, let's try it. Let's see what happens. We don't like it, it stays here. We like it. We go and taste it out, and if people want to, if we see that it's like Ryan said, it's going to be marketable, then we go, okay, let's push it. Let's start.
Well, how hard is it to start a distillery? Because the people think America is this sort of land of the free. You can do what you like and blah blah blah. But paperwork and legislation over here, I've talked to some people, and it's just, you know, the amount of state laws there is, county laws for various places, federal laws you have to obey, all of this. Blah, blah, blah. So how hard is it? There's this boom in craft distilling now, but how hard is it to actually get started in the States?
It was hard. We were first in El Paso, Texas. So the local coding and the local legislature weren't ready for it. So we do have about 6 small breweries in El Paso. And because of my background in the petrochemical world and how familiar I was with some of the city engineers, how we're kind of going back and forth on some of the OSHA mandates that were on the refining side, some of the local city engineers kind of knew me. And we pretty much went through a year of just educating the city. They didn't want to bomb in the historic area downtown of El Paso, right? So I literally had to take them through the chemistry books and go through McCabe's theory of equilibrium between vapor and liquid phases of ethanol. So we literally had to go through all these things. A lot of the safety precautions that are in the distillery, the H2S monitoring, the CO2 monitoring, all that was mandated. The sprinkler system above your head right now, we had to put a $70,000 sprinkler system. We had to put all these safety systems in. luckily we're engineers and we can do a lot of it ourselves, all the wiring and all the electrical, but it was very, very hard. It took about a year and about 15 strong, long meetings with the fire department, the fire marshals, the city guys, and tons of money, tons of money. So it is hard.
But I think you've done a wonderful job here. I'm just going to turn the camera around a little bit so that people can get a little bit of just what you guys have here. Because if the bar over here, so you get the bar over here, and then over here, dartboard and casks in situ. And then you've got the wall over here, which Justin will bring up a picture because we managed to get our name put onto that for us.
Thank you.
People come in and they can write their names up on the screen. Now we're going to walk over in and go into the actual distillery itself, into where the stills are, and then we can ask a little bit because they're unusual stills, but we'll see them when we get in there. So Justin, if you put up the thing, I don't want people getting seasick while we're.
Ryan, I mean, it's a big investment opening a distillery in another state in America, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to put too much finances out there, but you are, if even right now, if somebody wants to open one in El Paso, they're looking at, and the dollar amount, I don't know what it translates to you guys, but it would be over $400,000 to just get going. And that's not getting this big, magnificent, like you were talking about earlier about our steels. They were fabricated in Kentucky for me with this this welder that was willing to do some of the things that I needed him to do, right? To weld on the different flanges and stuff like that. But if you were going to get this big copper, beautiful showpiece steel, you're adding another $200,000-$300,000. You know, there's some beautiful artwork out there. You know, Christian Carl's, the Steel Dragons versions are pretty nice too. They're doing some cool stuff with their double dragons, and they're reasonable. But there's some very expensive steels out there. As you can see, ours is made out of 304 stainless steel. It's kind of tricky to weld, so we had to get this really awesome fabricator to do it for us. And we kind of generically wrapped it with wood for insulation, and we also insulated it inside that wood as well. But ours are just very workhorse steels, not showpieces, nothing beautiful, but those jokers will run like crazy.
Yeah. They look pretty impressive to me. They look pretty impressive to me. They look like they're built to last forever.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the point of them. They're built to last forever. The one thing that surprises me, okay, common sort of knowledge, common consent is that you need as much copper contact when you're distilling spirit as possible. But you guys don't have an awful lot. You've copper plates up in the column at the top, but you don't have massive amounts of copper.
Yeah, we have the plates in each one of the levels. You know, there's a plate of copper, and then we also put copper in between each one of the levels. So
copper meshing, yep.
Yeah, so it's copper mesh and these plates, and that's basically take your sulfites out of the spirit, but it seems to work. You know, it's not the copper still and massive amounts of refluxing and stuff. Now the design of the still with the columns at the top, we'll just have to pull that up a little bit, let people see. Are a hybrid still, but they're of your own design. You designed them yourself, didn't you, Ryan?
So they're very modular in nature, and it had to be like that because of the way that the city was. So I can switch parts in and out. I could put flow meter, as you can see there's a flow meter on the 3-inch tri-clamp. We can also put vacuum breaker or pressure relief valve whenever, right? So these things are modular in nature because of the city's changing requirements. So before we even started, we had to do a hydrostatic test we had to pressurize the hell out of those steels to verify that it can go over a certain pressure that it would never operate under.
Yeah.
But after educating them, they figured out that, you know, it's not pressure that you're worried about. It actually during the distilling process, you create a vacuum in the chamber, in the steel itself, in the pot portion. So their mind frame changed from pressure to vacuum. If you look up the column, there's actually an atmospheric reference on the flute, and it's atmospheric. It's an open pipe. It looks very weird, but that's atmospheric, so that there will never be such a vacuum that would crush it.
Yeah, because you don't want to go. I think that's no.
But because it's modular, and we can add copper mesh inside there, and I could add more plates, and we do have a deflagrator on the top. On the very top, there's a deflagrator. If the smell and taste are still sulfuric, right? If there's still a lot of sulfur, or we're getting a lot of acetones, the nature of it is good in, good out, right? So if our wash is good, going in, drinkable as is, there is not as much, especially if we're not doing something fruit derived, because then there's no methanol or very little methanol. So good going in, good coming out. If it does taste kind of funky, or there is some traces of some kind of material, depending on the water that we use, right? We can put that in reflux with the deflagrator and just keep it rectifying out that dirty smell, that dirty taste. And actually, Xavier has made probably the best tasting rum we have ever had, just based on him every hour sampling like the drunk that he is. And he put it in reflux the right way. The batch was so good that we haven't been able to mimic it, because the way he did it. I mean, he kept all those secrets in the little in his little.
What you're saying is, by the time he had finished, he was that drunk he couldn't remember what exactly.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah, it's like, this is good, it's going good, let's do this.
Keep it going.
It's like, hey, what did you do? Drink it.
I can't remember. Now, the setup you have is there's smaller distilleries than this. You know, there's distilleries a lot smaller. So the fact that you're expanding to another state is a little bit surprising, because you could make this bigger again, you know, but you want to keep it at the level it's at now. Here.
So there's if I were to write a book for future distillers that are going to put $500,000 into this, I would let them know, just like breweries, you have to add food to, if you wanted it to be a destination, you have to have a restaurant be part of it, because people want to go and actually spend time and relax there. If you don't have food, or you don't have a big enough spot for entertainment, you're just a factory, kind of like we are. We are just manufacturing it and pushing it out. We have our bar area, our tasting area open, but it's more bar owners coming in and tasting it before they pull the trigger. You know, it's a good meeting place. It's a good one-on-one conversations. But if you're going to open a distillery, you really do have to get into the restaurant and entertainment, and that's what our New Mexico distillery is really going to be.
Yeah, a bit more of an event space.
And the production, you know, we've never actually gone full capacity.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the time we only use one still. We have two of them. We only use one.
Yeah,
because we've only needed to do one. The amount of product we do is not like large amounts. We're a small distillery, we're a craft distillery. So here we kind of is what it is. That's why like expanding is just it made more sense than making this this bigger.
Now, what is your capacity? How big are the stills? What do you
250 gallons, right?
Yep, 250 gallons each. Yep.
Yeah, and in terms of
the process takes some time. The process takes about 12 hours, and if we're really, really being particular, it takes 16 hours. So we're there early in the morning, and we run it in shifts. There's just two of us. This is me and Xavier.
Yeah.
So yeah, we usually, like you said, when we start a run, he'll start in the morning. He usually leaves, by the time I'm here, so that I just finish it at night. Or if I start it at night, just whenever he comes back, he just continues. It's just a matter of doing the schedule.
Just doing the schedule. And so you have two whiskeys, two rums.
We have two whiskeys, basically three rums.
Two whiskeys, three rums,
a gin,
tequila.
we have tequila.
Tequila.
So
Sold
actually,
out of your tequila.
we're out of the tequila. That's went out quick. That's actually why I didn't bring it, because we don't have anything right now. But yeah, no, we have another tequila. Actually, that's I like that. Ryan did an awesome job on that one. He came out real different from any other tequila. So that's why it kind of sold out, because it's unique. It's once again the craft into it, that it just really stands out from other tequilas.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are busy, and you still have your own full-time jobs, do you?
Yeah. So yeah, this is our love and hobby, I guess you can say it. But yeah, no, we have another. I have another job too. Ryan has another job that we have to go.
So you're working full-time. You're doing what you're doing here. You're designing stills. You're designing mash bills. You're designing the cask finishing. You're looking to expand. I mean, where do you guys get the time? I mean, it's I've been chatting to you both for a period here and there, and you never seem to have a minute.
Yeah, you have to make the time.
Yeah,
you have to make the time.
It is love. It is love, and it's right back to brewing. Every brewer that you ever talk to will just show you how much love and time it takes to make these things. I'm driving back. I know it's kind of weird because I'm in my truck right now, but I'm driving back from another job, right? I still do engineering consulting on the side. So as soon as I run back into town, I'll be running into you guys in a little bit. And we're probably going to run one of those ferments right now. So you just got to keep doing it. And it's the love of it. And that place is very comfortable for us. That bar was built for just me and Xavier, really. But now people come in and relax.
It's like,
so this is
your escape. You're like,
this is basically your Saturday night out. This is your Saturday night site. This is we're gonna go to work.
I reckon you do it to get away from your wives.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's the second half of it.
No, but you can tell. I mean, the passion you guys have. Every time I talk to you, you're telling me all about the different things you've been doing and so on and so forth. And I'm very interested in the fact that you guys worked in a refinery, and I've just translated the skills basically straight over. I mean, the distillation process must be exactly the same, or very, very close to the similar. Did you guys have to modify it in any way?
No, it's exactly the same. In the rectification of diesel or jet fuel or gasoline in general, they're the same principles. We have operators 24/7 watching screens that Xavier and myself built, and little interfaces for them. But they're basically doing the same thing. They heat the oil to a certain temperature, and it separates the molecules. Just like when you put some fresh beer or distiller's beer in the still, we're looking at a temperature. We're looking at the separation between the alcohol and the rest of the beer, right? The heavier molecules stay behind and the lighter ones go up. And in that play, we're tasting it the whole way, right? So we're kind of we're using our mouth instead of sensors. In the refinery, they have these big Raman analyzers and these these GCs, gas chromatographs and stuff like that. Well, me and Xavier's mouth is the gas chromatograph. We are tasting it. We're making the decision.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. There's the human element into it.
Oh yeah, and there's been opportunities for us to fully automate it, so that we can have more time off. But both of us, we don't even have to. It takes 2 minutes for us to say no. We're not going to do it. We're just going to keep it the way it is, and we're just gonna keep going the way we are. Even in our other distillery, it's going to be 100% hands-on still.
Yeah. So you might be looking more staff. I see your Instagram posts and stuff. you tend to have very good-looking staff about the place. There tends to be quite pretty girls appear on your Instagram feeds and stuff. Justin's very interested in this.
It is that world, right? The social media. I'm a hermit. I'm a nerd. I don't really go out. I don't really do these things. But you do have to cater to the new, younger generation that is always on Facebook, is always on TikTok, is always on these things. So we have to catch their eye for 14 seconds, right? So we have a couple of pretty girls that we hire to do our tastings for us, and so far so good. We have a really good, strong base in El Paso. Locals really do help locals. So all the bars are owned by local mom and pop people. So the restaurants and bars, they're easy to talk to. They're easy to go through. We don't have to go through some corporate chain. But it's pretty cool, and it is a lot easier having pretty girls instead of me and Xavier's ugly guys.
No offense. Yours do a better job of this than you two guys. But no offense there. Don't mean to be cheeky.
No, you do actually do quite a lot with the local community. You're very good at donating school bags to schools, sort of thing.
We do that. We are two fortunate guys. We're both from El Paso, so the school backpack system, we've been doing that for years. We did that during the beginning of the pandemic. That was when we were trying to open. So we had a lot of, I believe it was rum in the back, finished. It was actually a product that never saw the light of day. It was 2 batches, which was like 800 bottles of a special botanical rum. It was a flavored rum. It never saw the light of day because we put it right back in the still, and we ran it again, stripped all the flavor out, and made hand sanitizer for all the hospitals, all the clinics, and all the emergency response in our area. So, in fact, we still have a couple of buckets in the hallway if you want to see them. But we went from trying to open and make profit to losing a lot of money and just giving out hand sanitizer and keeping a lot of people still open. So, in the community or helping the community is big for us. We're 2 fortunate guys. We've El Paso has done a lot for us, so we try to do a lot back.
It's a remarkably friendly city. You know, I go out for walks and people will say hello, good morning, and you go into a bar and the owners will start and talk to you. You know, it's a very, very friendly city.
No, we're I don't know, maybe the media sometimes makes El Paso look different, but no, El Paso people here are awesome. I mean, they're helpful, they're friendly. You're not gonna run into those, angry, aggressive people. No, that's pretty much just chill. It's cool.
I was in Phoenix. That's a different kettle of fish. That's a different story. No, El Paso was very nice. Now I see Frank is asking when are the good-looking girls going to appear on the Irish Whiskey Review? We don't they're pretty girls.
We should have had some girls over there to help you guys out with the bar section.
Justin wouldn't be able to concentrate on what he needs to do.
The shoulder crashed. But listen, it's been great, Ryan. Thanks very much for your hospitality with Marty and the show. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
And
you guys are amazing. Thank you.
And no, honestly, coming down in here, I came down. It's about 3 Friday nights ago. I came down and I met Javier and I was chatting away, and he gave me a bottle of the Guapo we take up home, and I was really surprised at how good it was. In terms of what craft guys can do, what you guys can do, and the smaller guys can do, it's remarkable because you're much more agile. You can try things more. You're not the big corporate guys who just throw money at stuff, but they have the downside that they can't be flexible. If they're going to bring in a new product, that's 6 months of negotiating with shareholders, and all the accountants and then setting everything up. And where you guys are flexible and the imagination for the still, I still find the stills really interesting because they're a totally different sort of concept. They almost look like a rocket ship ready to blast off. They're not anything like an ordinary still would be. And I think that's remarkable.
Yeah, so they're built for the craft. They're built for the craft, the performance of the amount, the product that we want to do.
Yeah.
They're not, like Ryan said, they're not made for constantly making product, which is what big corporations do. It's just volume and volume and volume of product now.
Yeah.
We do the small batches. We do the crafting. We do the so we can have more insight into the flavor of the product.
And I like
that's why they look different because they are different.
I also like the fact that you guys, it's the engineering aspect of it. They're built for function, not for aesthetics.
Yeah, they're not very sexy. We have a small 50-gallon version of those in the hallway, and I was running that. Well, I don't know if I should say that, it's illegal, but I might or might not have been running that for 5 years in my garage before we made those too big. They're mimicking the old one that I have in the hallway.
Yeah.
We do try to make a lot of stuff ourselves. Instead of wasting water for the cooling jacket or the condensers, in the hallway, you'll see that we converted an air conditioner unit into a glycol chiller. So we do play around with a lot of stuff. We weld a lot of stuff. We run our own electrical. We do all the stuff. That helps us out. Like I said, getting back to if somebody was listening to this and thinking about opening a distillery, if you don't have some of those skill sets, it gets pricier. It gets more expensive.
Yeah. You have to pay someone else to do them, You have to do something.
William says the stills look straight out of Wallace and Gromit, which is a steampunk cartoon here, if you don't know what it is, Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's steampunk. Yeah,
all the time.
Wallace and Gromit. Mark Hare's got a new popcorn tranquilla, Ryan. It's a reference to popcorn something.
Yeah, the moonshiner. Yeah.
Now, honestly, I think you guys you're doing a great job. You're doing stuff with the community. Is there anything new coming up, or is that what else is going to happen other than the new distillery? Is there anything you want to tell us?
Right now, the Guapo was the latest one. So we do want to work on another Gen 2. We're looking to do something more fruity, I think. So we're playing with ounces of stuff, so that may come up. That may be next, but right now, like Ryan said, Guapo was the last one, and then the distillery that's pretty much the next step right now.
Yeah. Well, put it like this, I have promised Justin that I'll take him over a sample of Guapo. I'll take it over to him and see if we can improve the looks of him, because it's Guapo means good looking. So we'll see if it improves the look of him. I don't think it will, but we'll take it anyway on the chance.
I tell you. I know what it means. Shall we let Troy Avery have the last word, Marty, shall we?
We will.
He says, Troy Avery says, thanks for celebrating American whiskey. Congratulations to Sun City Distillery. There you go.
Yeah, well done, guys. Well done. And we'll catch up with you again at some other point, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Here,
remember
guys.
to comment, like, and share. We're live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitch. The repeat also goes out on Instagram as well. And remember, if you asked your smart speaker to play the podcast, it does that. Thanks for watching. Mark Kerr sent a great show. And thank you, Ryan and Xavier. Thank you very much, guys. Excellent stuff.
Thank you.
Good night. And catch you again. Same time, same place next week as well.
Take care, guys.